You're listening to Historical Perspectives with Mr. Malt. Learn about life by looking at our history. Teachers, for more information about historical perspectives, search Mr. Malt's Marketplace on Teachers Pay Teachers or at mrmaltmarketplace.com. Happy learning! Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony was a true hero who worked her whole life to make the world a fair place for everyone. She's most famous for leading the fight to win women the right to vote, something we often take for granted today. But her story is filled with courage, hard work, and a belief that everyone deserves equality. Susan was born on February 15, 1820, in Adams, Massachusetts. She had a big family. She was one of 8 kids. Her parents were Quakers, a religious group that believed boys and girls should be treated the same, which wasn't really common back then. Because of this, Susan got to go to school and loved learning. She especially enjoyed debating, which is like having a thoughtful argument about important ideas. When Susan grew up, she started noticing how unfair things were for women. Women couldn't vote, own property, or even keep the money they earned. It all went straight to their husbands or fathers. Susan wanted to change this. She began giving speeches, writing articles, and joining other reform movements. Before focusing on women's rights, she worked to end slavery and fought for everyone to have equal education regardless of race or gender. One of the most important moments in Susan's life came when she met Elizabeth Cady Stanton in 1851. They quickly became friends and partners in the fight for women's rights. Together, they started the National Woman Suffrage Association in 1869. Their goal was simple but powerful: getting women the right to vote. Susan and Elizabeth traveled all over the country, speaking to huge crowds about justice and equality. They wrote letters, petitions, and even published a newspaper called The Revolution to spread their message. But changing minds wasn't easy. Susan faced many challenges. Some people didn't like her ideas and even shouted at her during speeches. Others thought women should stay out of politics altogether. But Susan did not give up. She believed the fight was worth it. Here's a fun story about her bravery. Susan once voted in the 1872 presidential election, even though it wasn't legal for women. She wanted to make a point that women deserved the same rights as men. She was arrested and fined $100. But she refused to pay. She said, "I shall never pay $1 of your unjust penalty," and she never did. Sadly, Susan passed away in 1906, 14 years before women were finally granted the right to vote with the 19th Amendment in 1920. Even though she didn't live to see her dream come true, her hard work made it possible. Today, Susan B. Anthony is remembered as a fearless leader who helped change history. There's even a special dollar coin with her face on it to honor her legacy. Her story teaches us that one person can make a difference if they stand up for what's fair and just. Susan believed in equality for everyone, and her determination reminds us to keep working for justice, no matter how tough the fight might seem. She made the world a better place, and her story continues to inspire people to stand up for their rights. Thanks for listening to this Historical Perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe. Also, search for Historical Perspectives on Teachers Pay Teachers to learn more about other topics, such as the Golden Gate Bridge, Henry Ford, schools in the early 1900s, and so much more. Happy learning!